Hi, welcome back. In this segment, we're going to talk about multi-level support. Now, we've already talked about how you can have a layer of assumptions underneath the main line of reasoning that provides either necessary or ancillary support to one or more of the premises. But argument structures can get more involved than that. Here, just as an example, we've got a logic bridge structure consisting of, we've got a total here of 23 premises. Now there's a main line of reasoning right here, premises 1, 2, and 3. But underneath, for example, premise 1, as you can see here, depends upon this assumption here, which consists of 2 premises. And premise 5 consists of this assumption, which is constructed from premises 6, 7, 8. And each one then, so the support for premise number 1 eventually is linked to the level of certainty of a number of levels of assumptions, which are each constructed from their own lines of reasoning. So you can have for example, down here in this assumption consisting of premise 22 and 23, if this fails for some reason, then the support for premise 18 could fail, which means the support for premise 10 could fail, which means the support for premise 8 could fail, which means the support for premise 5 could fail, which means the support for premise 1 would fail, which means there'd be no connection here in premise 1, and no amount of certainty could complete the path across the logic bridge, so your conclusion would not have support. Well, let's deal with a real example. Not quite so many levels. Here, just a quick schematic. Here, our main conclusion is Barack is a natural-born citizen of the United States. So you know, at the start, you have the subject of the main conclusion, and at the end, you have the predicate phrase, which is a natural-born citizen of the United States. Here you have 1, 2, 3 reasons. The 3 reasons here is Barack was born in Hawaii according to witness Governor Abercrombie. So that's this premise right here. And this middle premise is anyone who was born in Hawaii according to witness Governor Abercrombie was born in Hawaii. And then you have this third premise right here. Anyone who was born in Hawaii is a natural-born citizen of the United States. But you notice so this is all on, we could call it level 1. And in this argument, there's actually a level 2 of assumptions that support these premises. And here you have a level 3 assumption which supports this premise right here. So let's actually flesh that out so you can see how that works. Now when you get to so many levels and so many premises, you need an efficient way of displaying the text so that people can follow how the connections are. And here we've done it using what I call an outline logic bridge template. So we'll go through the different levels of support here. So you can see our main conclusion. Barack is a natural-born citizen of the United States. And that's number 1 here. And that depends on, at first, 3 premises, each marked 1.1. The first one, Brock was born in Hawaii, according to witness Governor Abercrombie. Another premise, one who was born in Hawaii, according to witness Governor Abercrombie, was born in Hawaii. And down here we have our third premise. One who was born in Hawaii is a natural-born citizen of the United States. Now, you can see that we have another layer, another level of assumptions that come into play here. For example, for the premise number 1.1, indented here to indicate it's supporting here, you have 1, 2, 3 assumptions. So for the premise that one who was born in Hawaii, according to witness Governor Abercrombie, was born in Hawaii, meaning that if this witness said it was so, then in fact it was true. Here we can see 3 assumptions. 1, the witness who was in a position to know of the birth. Number 2, the witness was not biased in favor of Brock. And number 3, the witness was capable of perceiving the event correctly. But now you look and you see there's even more layers. So for example, for this premise 2.1 right here, one who was in the hospital waiting room at the time of the birth, according to the nurse on duty, was in the hospital waiting room at the time of the birth. And this premise itself is supported by 2 assumptions right here. I'm sorry, 1 assumption. And that is that the nurse on duty remembered the incident correctly. Well, the reasoning for that is based on 1, 2, 3 premises, as you can read here. And then we go down to one more layer, and we can see that this premise is supported by another assumption. Here, the coworker had first-hand knowledge of the notes, which itself is constructed by 2 linked premises. So you can see how the layers of reasoning are represented as they move inward. So we have actually 4 levels here. The main level with the 1, 2, 3 linked premises, and then you have assumptions, and then more inferential premises that support. Now this is getting pretty complex, so I don't expect you to start, charting these out right away. But I'm trying to give you a sense of what's possible when you start organizing your reasoning in a clear fashion. So for example, if you had to explain to somebody what was the connection that the coworker saw the notes as they were written, if that was a piece of evidence, if you laid it out in this fashion, you could begin to make it clear to somebody else. You could say, well, that's an important piece because that's part of what tells us that the coworker had first-hand knowledge. And that's important because we're wanting to know whether one who had contemporaneous notes that matched one's statement of the incident according to her coworker had contemporary notes that matched one's statements of the incident. And of course, that's one of the inferential linked premises that support this statement here. The nurse on duty remembered the incident correctly, which itself is an assumption. So these inferential lattices can get quite involved, but they're kind of a fun puzzle. And it helps you realize how interconnected the pieces of a logic bridge can be. Thank you.